You know that moment when your entire world collapses in the span of about 30 seconds? When everything you've worked for, everything you've sacrificed for, everything you've believed in just evaporates into thin air? When the ground beneath your feet disappears, and you're left falling into a void with no idea how to catch yourself? When every memory you've ever made becomes tainted by the realization that it was all built on a foundation of lies? That was me at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, lying in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to piece together how I had ended up there. My body was broken, my ribs were cracked, my arm was in a cast, my head was throbbing with a pain that wouldn't go away. The doctors said I was lucky to be alive. They said I had been in a terrible car accident. They said someone had run me off the road. I knew it was no accident. I knew someone had tried to kill me. I knew exactly who it was. My husband's mistress. She had been threatening me for months. She had been stalking me, following me, terrorizing me. And now, she had finally made her move. She had tried to murder me and make it look like an accident. She had tried to take my life and my children and my husband. She had tried to destroy everything I had ever worked for and loved. My name is Tanya. I'm 43 years old. I have been married to my husband Derek for 21 years. We have 2 children together, a daughter named Mia, who is 20, and a son named Ethan, who is 17. We have a beautiful home in an exclusive gated community, the kind with manicured lawns and neighbors who wave when they drive by. We have a golden retriever named Buddy, who thinks he's a lap dog. We have a vacation home on the lake and a ski condo in the mountains. We are that family. The one with the perfect lawn, the perfect holidays, the perfect social media posts that make everyone else feel inadequate. I am a successful real estate agent. I have built my career from the ground up, one sale at a time. I have always believed in honesty, in integrity, in doing what is right. I believed my marriage was one of those things, right? True, built to last. Derek is a successful cardiologist, the kind of man who commands respect when he walks into a room. He is tall, handsome, and has a gentle smile that makes you feel safe. He is also kind, thoughtful, and completely devoted to his family. He is the kind of man other women wish their husbands were like. He is the kind of father every child deserves. I met him when I was 22, fresh out of college and working my first real job at a small real estate firm. He was 28, already on his way to the top. He swept me off my feet from the very first moment. He was everything I had ever wanted in a man. He was kind, intelligent, and he made me feel like I was the most important person in the world. We dated for 2 years before he proposed. It was a fairy tale proposal, the kind you see in movies. He took me to a beautiful restaurant overlooking the city, got down on one knee, and told me he wanted to spend the rest of his life with me. I said yes, of course. I was madly in love with him. I could not imagine my life without him. He was my everything. Our wedding was beautiful. A lavish affair with hundreds of guests, a 5-tier cake, and a live band. I wore a designer dress that made me feel like a princess, and I walked down the aisle on my father's arm. When I saw Derek waiting for me at the altar, I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. I thought I had it all. I thought I was living the dream. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares. That hospital bed was proof that my life had become a nightmare. Someone had tried to kill me. Someone had run me off the road. Someone had left me for dead. And I knew exactly who it was. The fluorescent lights above me buzzed incessantly, a sterile soundtrack to my pain. Every breath sent a sharp stab through my ribs. My left arm, encased in plaster, lay useless at my side. I tried to turn my head, but the pain in my neck made even that small movement agony. I was trapped in a body that felt like a prison, and the only thought that ran through my mind, over and over, was her name. Vanessa. The affair had started 2 years ago. I had discovered it by accident, going through Derek's phone one night while he was in the shower. The phone had been buzzing with notifications, and I'd glanced at the screen expecting work emails. Instead, I saw a message that said, "I can't stop thinking about last night." My hand trembled as I unlocked the phone. I knew his passcode. We had always been open with each other, and what I found shattered me. There were messages, photos, declarations of love. I had confronted him, and he had confessed everything. He had fallen to his knees in our bedroom, tears streaming down his face, and told me he had made the worst mistake of his life. I remember standing there, still holding his phone, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. Her name was Vanessa. She was a pharmaceutical sales representative who had come to his office to pitch a new drug. She was 35, beautiful, and ruthless. She had pursued him relentlessly, and he had fallen for her charms. He admitted everything: the lunches that turned into drinks, the drinks that turned into hotel rooms, the lies he told me about late surgeries and emergency consultations. He wept as he confessed, and I wept too, not just for the betrayal, but for the life I thought we had built together. I had been devastated. I had been angry. I had been humiliated. But I had also been determined to save my marriage. I had insisted on couples therapy. I had asked him to break it off with her. I had tried everything to make things work. Our therapist, a gentle woman named Dr. Reyes, had helped us navigate the wreckage. We talked through the affair, the underlying issues in our marriage, the ways we had drifted apart. I thought we were making progress. I thought Derek was doing the work. He had agreed. He had promised to end it. He had sworn that he loved me and that he wanted to make things right. I had believed him. I had trusted him. I had given him a second chance. I remember the night he came home and told me it was over, that he had cut ties completely. He held me and promised he would spend the rest of his life making it up to me. I believed him because I needed to. The alternative was too bleak to contemplate. But he had been lying. He had never ended it. He had just gotten better at hiding it. He had been seeing her behind my back for 2 more years. He had been living a double life. I didn't know it yet, but while we were in couples therapy, he was still texting her. While I was planning family vacations to reconnect, he was sneaking away to meet her in hotels across town. The man I thought was my partner was a stranger wearing a familiar face, and Vanessa had become obsessed with him. She had wanted him for herself. She had wanted to take my place. She had wanted to take my life. The more Derek tried to pull away, and in his own weak, conflicted way, he did try, several times, the more she clung. She had started to see me not just as an obstacle, but as a target. She had started threatening me. At first it was just phone calls. My phone would ring at odd hours, midnight, 3 in the morning, and a voice would whisper, "You can't keep him forever. You'll lose everything." Then it became texts, horrible, graphic messages describing what she was going to do to me. "I'm going to take everything you love. Your house, your children, your life. And then I'll take him." I blocked her number, but she found new ones. I changed my number, and she got the new one somehow. She was relentless. Then it became stalking. She would follow me to work, to the grocery store, to my children's school. I'd see her car, a black sedan with tinted windows, parked across the street from my office. Idling, she would sit in her car and watch me. She would leave notes on my windshield. "You can't hide from me. Your days are numbered. He will be mine." She would call my phone and breathe heavily into the receiver, saying nothing but letting me know she was there. Once, I came home to find a single red rose on my doorstep with a note: "Soon, this will be my house." The terror I felt was constant, a knot in my stomach that never loosened. I stopped sleeping. I jumped at every sound. My children noticed the change in me, and I had to lie and tell them I was just stressed from work. She was everywhere. She was always watching. She was always waiting. I had gone to the police. I had filed a restraining order. I had tried to protect myself. I went to the station with all the evidence: the texts, the notes, the photos of her car outside my work. The officer, a tired-looking man named Detective Harris, took my report and told me he'd look into it. But the police had been useless. They said there was nothing they could do without proof of an immediate threat. They said she hadn't actually harmed me yet. They said they would investigate, but nothing ever happened. I was alone. I was terrified. I was trapped. And now, she had finally made her move. She had tried to kill me. I remembered the night of the accident so clearly. I had been driving home from a client meeting, taking the winding road through the hills. It was late, almost midnight. The roads were empty, bathed in the silver glow of a full moon. I had been thinking about my children, about the fight Mia and I had that morning, a silly argument about curfew. I was already composing my apology in my head. And then I saw the headlights behind me. Bright, blinding lights that came out of nowhere. The car was following me, getting closer and closer. I had tried to speed up, to get away, but the car was faster. It had rammed into my bumper, sending me spinning. The sound of metal grinding against metal was deafening. I screamed, but there was no one to hear. I had lost control, crashed through the guardrail, and tumbled down the embankment. The world became a blur of shattering glass, twisting metal, and searing pain. Then, darkness. I had woken up in the hospital 3 days later. My family had been told I might not survive. My children had been told to say goodbye. Mia later told me she had held my hand and begged me not to leave her. Ethan, my strong, stoic son, had wept like a child. Derek had barely left my bedside, his face gaunt with guilt and grief. The doctors called my survival a miracle. I called it unfinished business. I had survived, but I was broken. My body was broken. My spirit was broken. My faith in humanity was broken. But I was also determined. I was not going to let her win. I was not going to let her destroy me. I was going to fight back. I was going to find proof. I was going to expose her. I was going to make her pay. Lying in that hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, I made a vow. I would not be a victim. I would be a survivor. I started doing some digging. I needed to know everything about Vanessa. I needed to understand her past, her patterns, her weaknesses. I needed to find a way to stop her. As soon as I was strong enough to hold a phone, I started searching. I couldn't do much from a hospital bed, but I could make calls. I could arrange meetings. The fire inside me burned hotter than any pain. I hired a private investigator. I gave him Vanessa's name. I told him to dig deep. I told him to find everything. I told him I wanted to know every detail of her life. His name was Malcolm, a former FBI agent with a quiet, intense demeanor. He visited me in the hospital, took notes on a small pad, and promised me he would leave no stone unturned. What he found made my blood run cold. Vanessa had a criminal record. She had been arrested for fraud, identity theft, and forgery. She had used aliases, stolen credit cards, and scammed people out of thousands of dollars. She was a con artist, a grifter, a woman who had made a career out of destroying lives. She had left a trail of broken people across 3 states, men she had seduced and drained dry, businesses she had defrauded, identities she had stolen. Derek was just her latest and most lucrative mark. But that wasn't all. She had also been stalking me for years. She had been documenting my movements, my habits, my life. She had been planning to kill me for months. She had been waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity. Malcolm found a notebook she had kept, a chillingly detailed log of my daily routine when I left for work, when I came home, the routes I drove, the places I went. Next to one entry, she had written the bend on Hillcrest Road. No guardrail. Perfect. The bend where I had been run off the road. It was all there, in black and white. I also found out that she had been manipulating Derek. She had been threatening him, blackmailing him, controlling him. She had been telling him that if he left her, she would destroy his career, his reputation, his family. She had been holding him hostage. He was a victim too. He was trapped in the same nightmare I was. He had made terrible choices, but he was also being controlled by a predator. Malcolm found emails where Vanessa had threatened to go to the medical board with fabricated accusations of misconduct. She had threatened to send intimate photos to his colleagues, to his patients, to our children. He had been paralyzed by fear and shame. It didn't excuse his betrayal, but it explained it. He had been swimming with a shark, and she had dragged him into the deep. I was devastated. I was angry. I was humiliated. I was destroyed. But I was also determined. I gathered all the evidence I had. The phone records, the text messages, the photos, the videos, the criminal records, the stalking logs, the proof of her threats, the proof of her crimes. I put it all into a binder. The same kind I used for my most important real estate deals. Only this deal would save my life. I had everything I needed to destroy her. But I didn't want to just destroy her. I wanted to make sure she could never hurt anyone ever again. I wanted to make sure she would never have the chance to do to anyone else what she had done to me. So I started planning my revenge. I contacted my lawyer. I told him everything. I showed him the evidence. I told him what I wanted. His name was Richard, a former prosecutor who now specialized in cases involving stalking and domestic violence. When he saw the binder, he looked up at me with a fierce light in his eyes. "Tanya," he said, "this is airtight." "Mrs. Davis," he said, "you have a very strong case. Vanessa has committed fraud, identity theft, forgery, stalking, and attempted murder. She has been threatening you. She has been terrorizing you. She has been trying to kill you. I can help you. I can make sure she pays for what she's done." "What about Derek? What about my husband?" "Your husband is a victim too. He was manipulated, controlled, and threatened. He made terrible choices. But he was also a victim. He can testify against her. He can help us build the case." "Good," I said. "That's what I want. I want her to pay for what she's done. I want her to go to prison. I want her to never hurt anyone ever again." I also contacted the police. I gave them the evidence. I told them everything I knew about Vanessa's crimes. I told them about the fraud, the identity theft, the stalking, the attempted murder. This time, the police listened. The new detective assigned to my case, a sharp woman named Detective Okafor, saw the binder and immediately began coordinating with the district attorney. She was arrested a few weeks later. They took her from her apartment, that sleek black sedan still parked out front. She was charged with multiple felonies. She was facing serious time. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. When Derek found out, he was devastated. He had been completely taken in by her. He had trusted her, loved her, defended her, and she had been destroying his wife the whole time. He came to see me at home, where I was recovering, still in a wheelchair. He knelt beside me and wept. "She used me," he said, his voice breaking. "She used me for my money, my connections, my access. She never loved me. She never cared about me at all. She just wanted to destroy you. She just wanted to take everything you had." "I know," I said, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of sympathy for him. "She used you, just like she used all the others. I'm so sorry, Tanya. I'm so sorry for everything. I should have listened to you. I should have believed you. I should have protected you." "It's too late for that," I said. "You made your choice. Now you have to live with it." The trial was brutal. Vanessa sat in the courtroom, her face pale, her hands shaking. She tried to defend herself. She tried to spin the story. She claimed she was a victim too. She claimed Derek had manipulated her. She claimed she had been coerced. She claimed she had been in love. Her lawyer painted her as a desperate woman who had made mistakes in the name of love. The jury almost looked sympathetic until the evidence started rolling out. The prosecution called witness after witness. Malcolm, the private investigator, walked the jury through his findings, each revelation more shocking than the last. Derek took the stand, pale and trembling, and admitted everything: the affair, the lies, the blackmail, the fear. He looked at me from the witness box with eyes full of regret, and he told the court that he had been a fool, that he had been manipulated, that his wife had almost died because of his weakness. It was the bravest and most broken I had ever seen him. The evidence was overwhelming. The phone records, the text messages, the photos, the videos, the criminal records, the stalking logs. It was all there. Everything she had done, everything she had planned, everything she had tried to hide. The jury found her guilty on all counts. Fraud, identity theft, forgery, stalking, attempted murder. She was facing a long prison sentence. She was facing the destruction of her reputation. She was facing the destruction of her life. When the verdict was read, she looked at me with hatred in her eyes. "You'll regret this," she said. "You'll regret destroying my life. You'll regret everything. I'll get out. I'll come after you. I'll make you pay. I'll make you suffer." I looked back at her, my face calm, my voice steady. "I'm not destroying your life. You destroyed your own life. You made choices. You made mistakes, and now you have to live with them." She was led away in handcuffs. I watched her go, and I felt nothing. No pity, no satisfaction, just relief. It was finally over. She could never hurt me again. After the trial, I started the long process of rebuilding my life. My body healed. My spirit healed. My faith in humanity slowly returned. I went back to work, and I was welcomed with open arms. My clients had believed in me. My friends had supported me. My family had stood by me. But I was changed. The experience had changed me. I was more cautious, more guarded, more protective of my boundaries. I didn't trust as easily as I used to. I didn't give my heart away as freely. I installed security cameras around my house. I checked over my shoulder in parking lots. The hypervigilance would take years to fade. I started going to therapy. I needed to process everything. I needed to work through the trauma. I needed to learn how to trust again. My therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Hoffman, specialized in trauma recovery. She helped me understand that what I had experienced wasn't just a physical attack. It was a profound psychological violation that required time and patience to heal. "Tanya," my therapist said one day, "you've been through a terrible ordeal. You've been betrayed by someone you trusted. You've been attacked. You've been through a trauma that would break most people. But you're still standing. You're still fighting. And that takes incredible strength." "Thank you," I said. "I don't feel strong. I feel broken. I feel like I'll never be whole again." "You will be whole again," she said. "It will take time. It will take patience. But you will heal. You will find your way back to yourself. The cracks will remain, but they will make you more compassionate, more resilient, and more fully human. You are not broken. You are becoming something new." I also started spending more time with my family. My children needed me. My husband needed me. My family needed me. I sat down with Mia and Ethan and told them the truth as gently as I could. They were angry at their father, confused and hurt, but they were also relieved to finally understand the darkness that had been haunting our family. We started having honest conversations, the kind we should have been having all along. Derek and I started going to couples therapy. It was hard. We had been through so much. He had made terrible choices. He had betrayed me, but he was also a victim. He was manipulated and controlled by a predator. We needed to heal together. In therapy, he faced his shame. He stopped making excuses. He started showing up, day after day, doing the hard work of earning back a trust he knew he might never fully regain. It was slow, painstaking progress. There were days I wanted to walk out and never come back. But there were also days when I saw a glimmer of the man I had fallen in love with. Humbled and scarred, but still there. We started going on vacations. We started having family dinners. We started talking about our feelings. We started healing together. We took a trip to the mountains, just the four of us, and spent a week hiking and playing board games and relearning how to be a family. One night, around a campfire, Mia told us she was proud of us for fighting for our marriage. I cried. Derek cried. Even Ethan got misty-eyed, though he denied it. It was a long process. There were many dark days. There were many moments when I wanted to give up. But I didn't. I couldn't. I had come too far. I had fought too hard. I had survived too much. I realized that the best revenge was not in destroying her. The best revenge was in thriving, in building a better life, in becoming the best version of myself, in showing her that she could not destroy me, in showing her that I was stronger than she ever imagined. I also started to speak out. I told my story to anyone who would listen. I wrote articles. I gave interviews. I shared my experience with others. I wanted to help other women who had been through similar situations. I wanted to show them that they could survive. They could thrive. They could rebuild. I became a voice for those who were still trapped in silence, still looking over their shoulders, still afraid. I wanted them to know that there was hope. I created a support group for women who had been victims of stalking and attempted murder. It started small, just a few women in a church basement. But it grew, and grew, and grew. Soon there were dozens of us, then hundreds, then thousands. We shared our stories. We supported each other. We helped each other heal. I met women who had survived worse than me, who had lost limbs, lost loved ones, lost years of their lives to fear. And yet they were still standing, still fighting. Their courage gave me courage. Their hope gave me hope. I also started to focus on my career. I was promoted to senior real estate agent at my firm. I was recognized for my leadership, my integrity, my vision. I was making a difference. I was building something meaningful. I started a scholarship fund for children of domestic violence survivors, something I could never have imagined doing before. My pain had a purpose now, and I was happy, truly happy, for the first time in a long time. Derek and I also started to rebuild our marriage. It was hard, it was slow, but we were making progress. We were learning to trust each other again. We were learning to love each other again. He became a different man, more present, more honest, more grateful. He told me once that he woke up every day thankful that I had given him a second chance. I told him that second chances are fragile. It's what you do with them that matters. He understood. It's been 3 years since everything happened. 3 years since I discovered the betrayal. 3 years since I destroyed the person who had hurt me. 3 years since I started to rebuild my life. I am happy. I am at peace. I have everything I ever wanted. A loving husband, beautiful children, a successful career, a life filled with joy. Vanessa is still in prison. She is serving a long sentence. She has been abandoned by everyone she loved. Her family has disowned her. Her friends have deserted her. She is alone, forgotten, lost. I don't think about her much. She is not worth my time. She is not worth my energy. She is not worth my thoughts. I have forgiven her, in my own way. Not because she deserves it, not because I have forgotten what she did, but because I can't carry that anger around forever. It was too heavy. It was destroying me. I had to let it go. I have learned a valuable lesson. Trust is fragile. Once it is broken, it is almost impossible to rebuild. And sometimes the people you trust the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. Sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who betray you the deepest. But that doesn't mean you should stop trusting. It doesn't mean you should stop loving. It just means you should be careful. You should protect yourself. You should always be vigilant. You should always trust your instincts. Loved this story? Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a video. I upload brand new stories every single day. Gripping, emotional, and packed with twists that'll keep you guessing until the very end. Don't forget to like this video if it gave you all the feels. Comment below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? How did you handle it? I read every single comment. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the best lessons come from other people's experiences. Got a story idea? Drop it in the comments. Your suggestion might just become the next video on this channel. Subscribe now and join our growing family of story lovers. New videos drop daily at 7 a.m. EST. Perfect to watch with your morning coffee. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, stay strong, stay brave, and never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. Because you are. You always have been, and you always will be.